Since hopping back into Sea of Thieves almost a month ago from Xbox to PS5 in the closed beta, early access for Premium Edition, and playing the game since it officially launched on PlayStation 5 for about a week now, I have been thoroughly enjoying my time back in Sea of Thieves. This game has come a long ways since the early days on Xbox. And back then, when I made a rant video, I had a lot of ideas in the rant video about what I would like to see happen eventually in Sea of Thieves. And credit to Rare, a lot of those things have come to pass, and it's gone above and beyond my wildest expectations when it comes to this game, which made it difficult for me to come up with some more things that I would like to see in Sea of Thieves. But I did come up with a list of 5 things I would like to see in Sea of Thieves in future updates. For the record, I do not claim to be the only one to ever come up with these ideas. There's plenty of other amazing Sea of Thieves creators and streamers and players that probably had some or all these ideas before me. But I think these ideas would add even more to this game. The first thing is new sea creatures. The Kraken has been in the game since launch. They added the Megalodons in Hungering Deep, and I do feel like it's time for them to add a new sea creature, or at least maybe a few new sea creatures, such as Moby Dick by Herman Melville. It is a book and a movie starring Gregory Peck from many years ago that I absolutely adored watching. It's long, the movie and the book, but it talks about the terror of the great white whale Moby Dick, a huge white sperm whale. And I think that this would be an amazing, terrifying sea creature to add to Sea of Thieves, would be a version of Moby Dick. It would be similar to the Megalodons in that it would not just straight up attack you unless you provoked it. It would maybe swim around your ship, maybe jump over your ship just to kind of intimidate you a little. But as long as you didn't shoot at it, it would not attack. But if you do decide to take on Moby Dick, then all bets are off. And it would have the ability to use its big tail to hit you, as well as perhaps even crash upon your ship by simply jumping on you, and some other abilities as well. And there's obviously a lot of historical, prehistoric creatures and mythical creatures that they could use in future ideas for sea creatures in Sea of Thieves. But one of my favorite sea creatures from the time of the dinosaurs is the plesiosaur, or what a lot of people believed was Nessie up in Scotland.
I ain't giving you no tree fitty, you goddamn Loch Ness monster!
And that would be cool if we had plesiosaurs in Sea of Thieves, similar to the Megs, where they would swim around and they would get close to the boat, but they wouldn't attack you unless you attack them. I think this would be another interesting sea creature in the game that you would have to go up against. Next is improving Hunter's Call. Now, there's so many videos out there about improving Hunter's Call, and a lot of people make the argument that it doesn't need an emissary because if you go through the Sovereign after you've purchased a ship and joined the guild, and we're doing like guild emissary stuff, then technically that counts unofficially as a hunter's emissary. But I still think the hunters deserve their own emissary, and I would like to see more hunter locations besides the sea posts. Yes, I know you can sell fish to the sovereigns. That counts towards the hunter's call, but it is such a drag to try to rank up the hunter's call, and I really feel like this one faction has been neglected more than all the others and could use a little love. An official emissary flag, as well as more locations, perhaps on a few outposts, maybe not all the outposts, but a few more, and up the reward levels and additional content for the Hunter's Call from 50 to 75 and perhaps eventually 100, just like the other factions in the game. I realize there's not much else you could possibly do with the Hunter's Call, but at the very least, you could make it a little bit easier, Rare, to rank up this particular faction. And maybe another item that you could acquire for those of you that don't like fishing or get bored of it pretty easily is maybe a fishing net that you could purchase through the Hunter's Call when you reach level 5 or level 10. It doesn't catch any of the like very rare or super expensive fish, but maybe some of the common fishes. You can get like 4 or 5 or 6 of them. And maybe every now and then you will actually catch something nice, like a skull, or like a trinket, or even a really nice fish. And the way I envision the fishing net working is you would just aim towards where you see a school of fish in the water, you throw it, and then you have to pull it back. And you don't get all the fish, but you get a few. And it's RNG. Like sometimes you get like 3 fish or 2 fish, sometimes you get 4 or 6 fish. And then you can just put that in your storage crate. That would be another way to acquire fish in the game, which would help you rank up the Hunter's Call. Plus, like every other piece of equipment or weapon, you would have different variations of the fish net that you would unlock, like the standard one, maybe a silver one, a gold one, an ashen fish net, a ghost fish net. But yeah, I would like to see the hunters get a quality of life update in a future season of Sea of Thieves. Next is outfits. Now this game has added a lot more content since I last played on Xbox a few years ago, including several different types of costumes that you can wear. But one thing I feel like is missing in Sea of Thieves when it comes to our wardrobe is the ability to save a certain number of outfits. So it's easier to swap between your unique outfits instead of having to constantly change your hat, change your jacket, change your dress, change your boots. I think that would be a major pro for a lot of players in Sea of Thieves, and it would obviously be a time saver if we had up to 10 outfit slots to save our outfits in. The next idea is going to be kind of controversial because I realize that Sea of Thieves is its own realm of the world, and I've done some investigating trying to figure out exactly where the time period of Sea of Thieves is. Does it exist during the golden age of piracy, which was the 1650s to the 1730s, or does it just exist beyond time and space? But let's just say it does exist in the golden age of piracy, and it's just in its own corner of the world where no one else can affect the pirates that exist there, not even enemy nations at the time. I don't know why Rare hasn't done this yet because it is clearly public domain. Maybe it's just controversial with the historical implications of adding real pirate flags from real infamous pirates like Blackbeard, Calico Jack, Henry Every, Captain Kidd, Black Barton, as well as all the other documented pirate flags from pirates that once existed on the high seas. Maybe there's just a line that Rare will not cross when it comes to real pirates versus fantasy pirates. But it's obviously not a public domain issue because those pirates have been gone for centuries. But I wouldn't mind seeing some of those flag designs or variations of those flag designs in the stores of Sea of Thieves. Along with the pirates, there were also several empires that existed in the 1600s and 1700s. Ottoman Empire, the British, French, Spanish, the Dutch, the Ming Dynasty, and a few others as well. And this might be controversial as well, but I don't know if Rare would ever consider having like flags and sails from like the old empires during the golden age of piracy for players to put on their ships. Maybe not. But what about like sails inspired by these various empires? Maybe not 100% like the British Union flag or the French, Spanish flags of the time, or the Ottoman flag, the Dutch flag, Ming flag. But maybe there's colors and patterns that you can put on your sails if you want to cosplay as the Royal Navy or the French Navy or the Ottoman Empire or the Ming Dynasty. But it would be cool to have pirate flags as well as country flags and sails from the 1600s, 1700s time periods, aka the golden age of piracy, as more customization options for our ships. And speaking of ships, yes, it's obvious. We only technically have 3 different ship classes in the game to choose from. We have the Man of War coming in the next season, but we're not going to be able to own that personally. We'll be able to use it temporarily, and I don't think that Rare is ever going to allow us to purchase our own Man of War. It's probably not going to happen. But as most of you know, we have the sloop, the brigantine, and the galleon. And I'm sure a lot of people would not mind seeing a future class of ship added for players to be able to purchase and customize. But let's just say for a moment that the system that Rare has in place, especially with the servers, with 6 ships in the lobby and equal to up to 24 players, prevents them from adding any other ships. How about different variations of the current existing ship classes based off of ships from other regions of the world, like Asian themed? That would be awesome if they added like Asian sloops, brigantine sloops, galleon sloops. It would have the same stats, pros and cons, but it would technically be a different ship that you could purchase. And you could buy 2 of each ship, similar to the regular sloop, brigantine, and galleon. Once each ship gets a legendary title, it allows you to buy another sloop or another brigantine or another galleon. The same thing would be for a hypothetical Far East sloop, Far East brigantine, or Far East galleon. It would be the same ship, but the ship design itself would physically have more of an Asian theme to it, from the hull and to the sails. That way, you still have 3 classes of ship, technically, but you can have more quote-unquote varieties or variants of ships sailing around in Sea of Thieves. And one more bonus idea. It revolves around rowboats. I'm getting better with the rowboats. I think they're very useful, especially for vaults or when your ship sinks and you're desperate to save your loot. It's always good to have a rowboat on the back of your vessel. But a small pet peeve is the colors of the rowboats don't always match the colors of our ships. It would be awesome if we had the ability to make the rowboats colors match our ship colors, or just have it automatically happen. I doubt that would be the case with Rare, but maybe if we spent like a few hundred gold, an option would pop up to quote unquote paint the rowboat. Or better yet, how about the ability for us to actually buy a rowboat for 100,000 gold per vessel, obviously. So that would add up if you have like 3 vessels at least, a sloop, brigantine, galleon. Yeah, you'd have to drop 300 gold to buy a rowboat for each of these ships. But you could decide what to put on the front of the rowboat, whether it's a lantern, a harpoon gun, a cannon. And you would also be able to select the hull option for your rowboat. And obviously the ability to customize the hull of the rowboat to match it with your ship, or just give it some wild crazy color or hull skin, even if you don't want to look anything like the rest of your vessel. But I think most pirates would prefer the rowboat actually match the colors of their sloops, brigantines, and galleons. But I do like the idea of being able to purchase our own rowboats and maybe even just spawn in a rowboat in the game and just use that to go around some of the islands. Perhaps even give it a single sail upgrade to boost its speed a little. So there you go, some ideas that I came up with. Once again, none of them I'm claiming to be original. Most likely a lot of these have been also thought up and brainstormed by many other creators and streamers and players within the Sea of Thieves community. But I wouldn't mind seeing all or perhaps even some of these ideas eventually become reality in Sea of Thieves. What are some things you would like to see eventually added to Sea of Thieves? And what are some of my ideas that you liked or disagreed with? Thoughts, views, opinions, as always, welcome below in the comments section.